Hello. My name is Harrison Mayuku, and you are welcome to Story World. Bruno, a man in his late 30s, is introduced as a humble, blue-collar worker in a poverty-stricken neighborhood. He works as a mechanic but has a keen intellect and a deep sense of justice. The story begins with a flashback to Bruno's childhood, showing how his community was torn apart by corrupt politicians and how his family was devastated by poverty and neglect. One day, Bruno witnesses an elderly neighbor, who has always been kind to him, being evicted from her home due to unpaid rent. She dies shortly after due to the stress. This event pushes Bruno to the edge, fueling his anger against the corrupt system. Shortly after, Bruno uncovers evidence of a massive corruption scandal involving local politicians and a powerful bank that launders money for them. The politicians siphon off public funds meant for community development and funnel it into their own offshore accounts. The bank, a seemingly untouchable institution, is the linchpin of this corruption. Bruno decides that the only way to strike back is to take matters into his own hands. He begins to plan a heist that will not only rob the corrupt politicians and the bank but also redistribute their ill-gotten wealth to the people. Bruno knows he cannot pull off the heist alone. He recruits a small team of individuals who share his desire for justice, each with their own special skills. Sophia, a brilliant hacker who can bypass the bank's security systems. Raul, an ex-con with knowledge of bank vaults and the criminal underworld. Maria, a former journalist who was blacklisted for uncovering corruption, now seeking revenge. And Jorge, a street-smart driver who knows the city's ins and outs. The team spends weeks preparing for their heist. They scout the bank, gather information on the politicians involved, and carefully craft their plan. Bruno remains the leader, but the team begins to bond, sharing their personal stories of how the system has failed them. As the heist date approaches, tension within the team rises. Some members begin to doubt whether they can actually pull it off, fearing the consequences if they fail. Bruno must keep them focused and united, reinforcing the idea that they are doing this for the greater good. Bruno also grapples with the morality of what they are about to do. He knows that robbing a bank is illegal, but he also believes that the law has failed to protect the people. He wrestles with his conscience, questioning whether the end justifies the means. The night of the heist arrives. The team moves with precision, each member executing their role perfectly. Sophia disables the bank's security systems, Raul cracks the vault, and Jorge stands ready as the getaway driver. However, the team encounters unforeseen challenges. An unexpected security guard patrol nearly jeopardizes the entire operation. Bruno's quick thinking saves the day, but the incident leaves everyone on edge. They successfully break into the vault and find not only the money but also documents detailing the corrupt politicians' illegal activities. These documents are just as valuable as the cash, providing evidence that could bring down the entire political network. The team narrowly escapes as police respond to the bank's alarms. A high-speed chase through the city ensues, with Jorge using his driving skills to outmaneuver the authorities. The team successfully evades capture and retreats to their safe house. In the dead of night, Bruno and his team drive into the poorest parts of the city. They begin throwing bundles of cash into the streets, allowing people to pick it up. The sight is chaotic but joyous, as people realize they are being given a lifeline. News of the mysterious benefactors spreads like wildfire. Media outlets cover the story, and soon, Bruno's actions are being debated nationwide. Some see him as a hero, a modern-day Robin Hood, while others lab him a criminal. The money has an immediate effect on the community. People are able to pay off debts, buy food, and provide for their families. The act of redistribution ignites hope and a sense of empowerment among the poor, who have long been oppressed by the corrupt system. As Bruno watches the people gather the money, he reflects on his actions. He feels a deep sense of satisfaction but is also aware of the potential consequences. He knows that the authorities will be relentless in their pursuit of him and his team. The authorities launch a massive manhunt for the bank robbers. The corrupt politicians, enraged by the loss of their money and the exposure of their crimes, use all their power to find and punish Bruno and his team. The team members go into hiding, each dealing with the aftermath in their own way. Bruno struggles with the weight of his choices, knowing that they have made a powerful enemy. Some team members start to regret their involvement, while others are emboldened by the impact they've had. The story culminates in a tense standoff between Bruno and the authorities. Bruno is faced with a choice: surrender and risk his life, or fight back and potentially lose everything. The confrontation is charged with emotion, as Bruno is forced to confront the full consequences of his actions. In the end, the final chapter reflects on Bruno's impact. While he may not survive the confrontation, his actions have set off a chain reaction. The evidence of corruption that he and his team uncovered leads to a public outcry and the eventual downfall of several politicians. The community, inspired by Bruno's bravery, begins to organize and demand change. Bruno becomes a legend in the community. Stories of his daring heist and his act of generosity are passed down, and he is remembered as a man who took on a corrupt system for the sake of the people. His name becomes synonymous with justice and resistance against oppression. The story ends on a hopeful note, with the community starting to rebuild, empowered by the money they received and the knowledge that they can fight back against corruption. The final scene shows a child, inspired by Bruno's story, dreaming of a future where justice prevails. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe to get more stories.